The bruise under my left eye was blooming like a dark violet orchid, a souvenir from the man who claims to be my soulmate, gifted to me in the silence of our $3 million penthouse just 6 hours ago. He is asleep now, sprawled across the Egyptian cotton sheets with a peaceful look on his face, arrogant enough to believe that his violence last night had successfully reset me to factory settings, that I was once again the obedient doll he needed. I stand in front of the vanity mirror, the lights blazing at 5 in the morning, and I do what I do best. I erase the reality of my life with a layer of color corrector and expensive foundation, blending away the pain with the mechanical precision of a soldier cleaning a rifle. I am not crying, and I am not shaking. I am simply preparing the canvas, making coffee, and setting out his gluten-free toast as if the monster didn't come out to play last night. But then, the silence of our morning ritual is shattered by the sharp, unexpected chime of the doorbell. Freezing the air in the room, Brad's eyes snap open in the reflection of the mirror, panic flooding his face as he realizes we have an appointment he forgot. And for the first time in years, he looks at me, not with authority, but with the terrifying realization that my silence is no longer submission, but a loaded gun pointed at his reputation. You know that feeling when you scroll through Instagram and see those lives that look too glossy to be real. The ones where the sunlight always hits the breakfast table at the perfect angle, and the couple looks at each other with a devotion that makes your own relationship feel dusty. Imagine that perfection is actually a glass cage, and you are the exotic bird trapped inside, singing on command while the air slowly runs out. We live in the sky, in a penthouse that smells like vanilla beans and expensive sanitizer, a white-on-white sanctuary that looks like an Apple store designed by a psychopath. It is a world of ring lights, tripods, and filters, where every spontaneous moment is rehearsed 10 times and every kiss is timed for maximum engagement. I used to be Alice, a girl who laughed too loud and had messy hair, but I sacrificed her on the altar of the algorithm to become the wife, a curated entity of beige cardigans and soft smiles. People think they know me because they see my morning routine on their screens. But they don't see the way I have to ice my face before I apply the primer to bring down the swelling. They see the piece, but they don't see the price. And the funny thing is, you envy me. You look at my life and wish you had this kind of love, this kind of attention. But you don't realize that the man holding the camera isn't capturing memories. He's documenting his property. I pick up the small, heavy glass bottle of NARS foundation, the one that costs more than what I used to spend on groceries in a week, and I pump a small amount onto the back of my hand. The cold liquid feels grounding against my skin, a stark contrast to the throbbing heat radiating from my cheekbone. It's a ritual I've perfected over the last 3 years, a dark art of transformation where I paint over the truth until it disappears. I use a damp beauty blender, dabbing rhythmically. The soft pat-pat-pat sound the only noise in the expansive marble bathroom. You have to be careful with purple bruises. If you just slap beige over them, they turn a sickly gray, like old ash. You have to neutralize the color first with peach or orange, layering the lies carefully so they hold up under the unforgiving gaze of the 4K lens. As I blend, I look into my own eyes in the mirror. They are brown, unremarkable. But today they look detached, like I'm watching a stranger perform surgery on herself. I remember the first time I had to do this, how my hands shook so bad I dropped the bottle, shattering glass everywhere. Brad had come in, not to help, but to sigh at the mess. Today, my hands are steady, stone steady. The girl who used to shake is gone, replaced by this cold, efficient creature who knows exactly how to hide the evidence of her own destruction. Behind me, the bed shifts. The rustle of high thread count linens signals the return of the director of this twisted reality show. I don't turn around. I can see him in the mirror, sitting up, rubbing his face. Brad is handsome in that generic, trustworthy way, square jaw. Hair that looks good even when messy. The kind of face that brands pay thousands of dollars to associate with. He doesn't look at me. Really. He looks at his phone on the nightstand first. That's the hierarchy in this house. The algorithm. The image. And then, a distant third. The human being he married. Metrics are up. He mumbles, his voice thick with sleep and self-satisfaction. That reel from yesterday hit 200,000 views overnight. He swings his legs out of bed, stretching his arms, completely oblivious to the fact that half my face is currently a construction zone of concealer. It's breathtaking. Really. His capacity to compartmentalize. To him, last night was just a production meeting that got out of hand. A necessary correction, because I wasn't performing my role correctly. He walks toward the bathroom, and I hold my breath, not out of fear, but out of a strange curiosity to see if he'll even acknowledge the mark he left. He stops in the doorway, looking at my reflection. But he doesn't see the bruise. He sees the makeup. Make sure you contour the jawline today, he says, critiquing the product, not the injury. We have the sponsorship shoot at noon. My mind drifts back to 12 hours ago, to the incident that required this morning's heavy concealment. It wasn't a fight about money, or infidelity, or anything normal couples fight about. It was about a shadow. We were filming a simple unboxing video for a new line of organic skincare. I was tired. I had been up since 4, prepping the set. And for a split second, my smile faltered. The corners of my mouth dropped, just for a frame, revealing the exhaustion rotting underneath. Brad shouted, cut so loud the neighbors probably heard. But in this building, people are paid to be deaf. He grabbed the ring light, that halo of artificial divinity we worship, and he threw it. He didn't throw it at the wall. He threw it at me. You look miserable, he had screamed. His face twisted into a mask of pure hatred. I built you. I made you someone people want to be. And you look at the camera like you're in a hostage video. The plastic rim of the light caught my cheekbone. It wasn't a punch. It was a collision with the tools of our trade. And as I fell back, clutching my face, he didn't apologize. He just looked at the broken light stand and cursed about the cost of replacement equipment. He cares more about the lighting rig than the woman he illuminates with it. That moment was the snap, the internal fracture that no amount of foundation can cover. Now, standing in the bathroom, I finish the final layer of setting powder. The bruise is gone. In its place is a flawless, airbrushed complexion that radiates health and happiness. I look like the after picture in a dermatology ad. I walk out to the kitchen, the open concept living space flooded with that brutal, unforgiving California sunshine. I start the coffee machine, the expensive Italian one that grinds the beans with a whir that sounds like a jet engine taking off. I move with the grace of a dancer, every motion fluid and practiced. I get the avocados from the fridge, the gluten-free bread, the Himalayan pink salt. I am building the set. I am the prop master and the lead actress. Brad comes out, wearing his lazy Sunday sweatpants that actually cost $300. He leans against the marble island, scrolling through comments, deleting the negative ones with a flick of his thumb. We should do a morning after story, he says, not referencing the abuse, but referencing a fictional date night we posted about but never actually had. Show them how cozy we are. He reaches for a piece of toast, his hand brushing mine. I don't flinch. I just watch him. He thinks he has won. He thinks that because I am making breakfast, I have accepted the new terms of our contract. I take the hit. I hide the mark. We keep the sponsors. Then it happens. The doorbell rings. It's a sharp, intrusive sound that doesn't belong in our scripted morning. We aren't expecting anyone. The doorman usually calls up, Brad freezes, his hand hovering over the toaster. He looks at the clock. It's barely 7:00 a.m. Who the hell is that, he snaps. A flicker of genuine anxiety crossing his face. In our world, unannounced guests are threats. They are glitches in the matrix. I stay silent, wiping a crumb off the counter. He looks at me, then at the door, then back at me. He sees my face, perfect, composed, unreadable. The bell rings again. Insistent, urgent. Brad moves to the intercom. His movements jerky. He presses the button. Yes, his voice is tight. Delivery for Alice. A voice crackles through the speaker. It's not a delivery man. I recognize the voice immediately. It's Chloe, my makeup artist. The one person who has seen me without the mask. The one person I explicitly told not to come today. But I also remember slipping a note into her bag last week. A note that simply said, Sunday, 7 a.m. Don't call first. Brad turns to me, his face draining of color. He knows Chloe. He knows she has a big mouth and a bigger following. He looks at my face, checking the makeup again. Paranoia creeping into his eyes. You didn't tell me Chloe was coming. He hisses, stepping away from the door as if it's radioactive. Why is she here so early? He's doing the math in his head. If Chloe comes in, she'll see the tension. She might see the swelling if the light hits wrong. She'll see the broken ring light I haven't thrown away yet, still lying in the corner of the living room like a dead body. For the first time, the script is off the rails. He looks small. He looks like a man who realizes the walls of his fortress are made of glass. And someone is standing outside with a rock. I pick up my coffee cup, blowing the steam away gently. I forgot to mention it. I say, my voice smooth, devoid of the tremor he expects. I thought we wanted to look perfect for the shoot. Let her in. Brad, we can't keep our fans waiting. He stares at me. And in that split second, the dynamic shifts. He is terrified of exposure. I am welcoming it. He is the one with something to lose now. The domestic god is afraid of a 20-year-old makeup artist with an iPhone. He hesitates, his finger hovering over the unlock button. Trapped between his need for control and social convention, if he doesn't let her in, it's suspicious. If he does, it's dangerous. I take a sip of coffee, tasting the bitterness, and I smile at him. It's not the smile he taught me. It's a new smile. Sharp and cold. Open it, I whisper, and as he presses the button, the buzz of the door unlocking sounds like the starting gun of a race he doesn't know he's already lost. The elevator doors down the hall slide open. Steps approach. Brad fixes his hair frantically, putting on his nice guy mask. But I can see the sweat beading on his upper lip. The show is about to begin. But this time, I wrote the script. The heavy oak door swings open, revealing Chloe standing there like a splash of chaotic paint against a blank canvas. She is everything our apartment is not: messy, vibrant, and unapologetically human. She's wearing an oversized vintage tee. Her combat boots are scuffed. And she's juggling a massive professional makeup case along with a tray of Starbucks coffees that smell like burnt sugar and caffeine. Morning. Sunshine. I know. I'm early. But the traffic on the 405 was suspiciously light, and I didn't want to risk being late for the power couple. She chirps, breezing past Brad with the familiarity of someone who has seen us without our skins on. Brad is frozen for a microsecond, his hand still gripping the door handle, his knuckles white. I watch his internal processor reboot. He can't throw her out. That would be off-brand for the benevolent, welcoming husband he plays on the internet. He has to swallow his panic. He forces a smile that doesn't reach his eyes, a tight grimace that looks like it hurts. Chloe, great. We love the enthusiasm, he stammers, stepping back to let her in. The air pressure in the room shifts. Chloe dumps her gear on the pristine white sofa, a crime punishable by death in Brad's law book, and looks at me. Alice. Babe. You look intense. Already got the base layer on? I thought we were going for dewy morning glow today, she squints. Stepping closer, her professional gaze dissecting my face. I can feel Brad's anxiety radiating off him like heat from a pavement. He's terrified she'll see the texture of the concealer. The slight unevenness where the swelling hasn't quite gone down. He steps between us, casual but blocking her line of sight, playing the role of the protective partner. She was just trying out that new sample sent by Sephora. Brad lies smoothly, his voice dropping into that rich, baritone register he uses for voiceovers. But you know Alice. Always insecure about her skin. I told her she's beautiful without it. The lie slides out of him so easily it's almost admirable. He puts a hand on my waist, his fingers digging in just hard enough to be a warning, not hard enough to bruise. I lean into his touch, playing my part. I just wanted to be ready for you. Chloe, I say, my voice steady. You know how Brad gets about schedule. Chloe laughs, ripping the lid off her coffee. Don't I know it? Mr. Spielberg over here needs everything frame perfect. She doesn't know she just insulted him. Brad's jaw tightens. He hates being reminded that he's a failed director who now films unboxing videos for a living. But he laughs too. A dry, hollow sound. Let's get set up in the studio, he commands, steering the ship back to waters he can control. As they move toward the designated filming corner, the one with the acoustic foam hidden behind artfully arranged monstera plants, I slip away to the bedroom. I need my phone. I call out. Once inside the master suite, the silence wraps around me. I don't go for my phone. I walk to the back of the walk-in closet, behind the rows of color-coordinated designer dresses that Brad picked out for me. I reach up to the top shelf, behind a stack of unused hat boxes, and pull out a small, dust-covered shoebox. Inside is a graveyard of the past. There are ticket stubs from movies we saw before he decided movies were a waste of productivity. There are napkins with scribbled ideas. And there is the camera. An old Polaroid Sun 600. Plastic and clunky. I hold it in my hands, feeling the weight of it. It's a physical object in a digital world. It doesn't have a delete button. It doesn't have filters. It only tells the truth. I press the button to open it. The mechanical whine of the flash, charging sounding like a whisper from a ghost. I have one photo left in the cartridge. Just one. I pull out a loose photo from the bottom of the box. It's from 5 years ago. We were in a cramped studio apartment in Silver Lake, eating pizza on the floor because we couldn't afford a table. In the picture, I have sauce on my chin. My hair is a frizzy disaster, and I am laughing so hard my eyes are squinted shut. Brad is in the corner of the frame, holding a cheap beer, looking at me with something that resembles actual affection. Or maybe I'm projecting. Maybe he was just looking at his possession. But the girl in that photo, she was alive. She was loud. She didn't care about her angles. I run my thumb over her face. She feels like a stranger, a distant relative who died in a tragic accident. I look up at the mirror in the closet, surrounded by $10,000 worth of clothing. The woman staring back is polished, thin, and hollow. The bruise under the makeup throbs, a rhythmic reminder of my reality. That girl is dead. The voice in my head says, it's not a sad thought, it's a factual one. The Alice who forgave. The Alice who made excuses. The Alice who thought his jealousy was passion. She died last night when the ring light hit her face. The woman standing here now is someone else, someone colder. Someone who knows that survival isn't about endurance anymore. It's about strategy. I shove the photo into the pocket of my silk robe. I don't know why, but I need it close to me. It's my anchor. It's proof that a version of me existed without him. I take a deep breath, watching my chest rise and fall in the mirror. I need to go back out there. I need to perform. But the script has changed. For 3 years, Brad has been the director, telling me where to stand, how to smile, what to say. He edits my life. He cuts out the bad parts, the crying, the screaming, and leaves only the highlights. But he forgot one thing. Even the best director is at the mercy of the lead actress when the camera is live. If I go off script, he can't cut, he can't edit, he can't save himself. A plan begins to form in the back of my mind, cold and sharp as a scalpel. It's not fully formed yet, but the seed is there. The 1 million follower celebration. He wants it to be the biggest event of our career. He wants it to be perfect. Perfect is fragile. Perfect is easy to break. I walk back out into the living room. Chloe has her brushes laid out like surgical instruments. Brad is adjusting the ISO on the main camera, obsessing over the white balance. He looks up as I enter, his eyes scanning me for any sign of rebellion. I give him none. I give him the good wife. I sit in the makeup chair, letting Chloe drape the cape around my neck. So, I say, keeping my eyes on Brad's reflection in the lighted mirror. I was thinking about the concept for the million party. Brad pauses, looking interested. He loves concepts. He loves anything that sounds like marketing. We have the sponsors lined up, he says. Distracted. We just need a hook, something viral. I let a beat of silence pass, letting the tension build just enough. What if we pivot, I suggest softly. People are tired of the gloss. Brad, look at the comments. They want authentic. They want raw. Why don't we do a no-filter theme? A live get ready with me where we strip it all back, just us, the fans, and the truth. Chloe stops blending my contour. That is actually genius, she says, looking at me in the mirror. Vulnerability is huge right now. People would eat that up. Brad frowns, his instinct for control warring with his hunger for fame. No filter, he asks. Skeptical. That's risky. I turn in the chair to face him. I make my eyes wide, pleading, the way he likes. I appeal to his vanity. Not risky for us. Babe, we're perfect. Remember, it's a flex. It shows we don't need the filters. It proves that what you built is real. I see the hook catch in his cheek. He likes the idea of flaunting his creation. He likes the idea of proving his superiority. He looks at me, then at Chloe, calculating the engagement metrics in his head. The naked truth, he murmurs, testing the tagline. The unmasking of the perfect couple. A slow smile spreads across his face. It's a shark's smile. I like it. It's bold. It's directorial. He thinks it's his idea now. He thinks he's agreeing to a showcase of his masterpiece. He has no idea that he just agreed to his own trial. But we have to control the environment, he adds quickly, his paranoia flickering back. We script the questions. We control the lighting. I nod enthusiastically. Of course, you write the script. Brad, you always do. I turn back to the mirror so Chloe can finish. Under the cape. My hand clutches the Polaroid in my pocket. He thinks he's going to direct a masterpiece of authenticity. I'm going to give him exactly what he wants. I'm going to give him the truth. And it's going to destroy him. Chloe, I say, my voice light and airy. Make sure the coverage is heavy today. We want the before look to be flawless. So the after is a shock. Chloe winks. You got it. Boss. Brad goes back to his camera, humming a tune. The stage is set. The actors are in place. And the ticking clock has officially begun. The rest of the morning is a blur of flashes and fake laughter. We shoot the promo photos for the skincare brand. Brad stands behind the camera, barking orders disguised as endearments. Chin up. Darling, you look like you have a double chin when you do that, he says, smiling for Chloe's benefit. Smile with your eyes. Alice, you look dead behind the eyes. Action. I smile. I tilt my chin. I let him mold me. Every time he corrects me. Every time he critiques my posture or my expression. I add it to the ledger. I am not angry anymore. Anger is hot. Anger burns you out. I am cold. I am ice. I am counting down the days to the live stream. I watch him move around the apartment. This kingdom of glass, he thinks he rules. He checks the locks on the windows. He checks the security feed on his iPad. He thinks he's keeping the world out. He doesn't realize he's locked himself in with the threat. By noon, Chloe is packing up. You guys are literal goals. She sighs, wiping a smudge of foundation off her hand. I swear, if I ever find a guy who looks at me the way Brad looks at you through that lens, I'll die happy. I look at Brad. He is reviewing the footage, zooming in on my face, checking for cracks. We're very lucky. I say, and for the first time today, I am not lying. I am lucky. I am lucky that he is so arrogant. I am lucky that he underestimates me. I am lucky that he thinks a ring light and a fist can break me. Chloe leaves, the heavy door clicking shut behind her. The silence rushes back in, suffocating and thick. Brad puts the camera down and looks at me. The performance is over. The nice guy mask drops. You were stiff today, he says, his voice flat. We're going to have to reshoot the intro tomorrow. And Alice, he walks over to me, looming over the chair where I'm still sitting. He reaches out and traces the line of my jaw, right over the spot where the bruise is hiding. Don't ever invite people over without my permission again. Do you understand? I look up at him. I don't flinch. I don't look away. I understand. I say softly. I just wanted everything to be perfect for you. He studies my face, looking for a lie. But he finds only devotion, or what looks like devotion. He nods, satisfied. Good. Now go take that makeup off. I want to see the damage. I need to know how long until we can shoot close-ups again. He turns his back and walks toward the kitchen. And make me some lunch. I'm starving. I sit there for a moment, listening to him open the fridge. He wants to see the damage. Oh, he will, but not today. I stand up, smoothing down my silk dress. I walk toward the bathroom, but I don't take the makeup off. Not yet. First, I have a script to write. A script that starts with, hello, everyone, and ends with a siren. The cotton pad is cold against my skin, soaked in micellar water. And as I drag it across my cheekbone, the beige mask dissolves. It stains the white cotton with the color of a lie, revealing the ugly, blooming truth underneath. The bruise has evolved since this morning. It has transitioned from a sharp red to a deep, sickly violet with edges of jaundiced yellow. A topographic map of violence etched onto the face that pays our mortgage. I stare at it in the harsh bathroom light, waiting for the shame to hit. But it doesn't come. Instead, I feel a strange sense of scientific detachment. This is biology. This is capillaries bursting under impact. This is what happens when a plastic ring light, moving at high velocity, meets a human zygomatic arch. The door handle turns, and Brad walks in. He doesn't knock. Privacy is a concept we sold off somewhere around 10,000 followers. He leans against the doorframe, crossing his arms, his eyes narrowing as he inspects the damage. He doesn't wince. He doesn't offer ice. He tilts his head to the side, calculating angles, lighting, and recovery time. 2 more days, he pronounces, sounding like a contractor estimating a delay in construction. If we use the color corrector and stick to the right side profile shots, we might be able to film the teaser tomorrow evening, but you'll have to keep your hair down on the left. He reaches out, his fingers cool and dry, and tilts my chin up. For a split second, my heart stutters a phantom reflex from a time when his touch meant affection. But he's just checking the swelling. You really need to be more careful. Alice, he sighs, a tone of disappointed patience in his voice. as if I had clumsily walked into a door instead of being used as a target for his rage. We can't afford downtime right now. The algorithm punishes inconsistency. He drops my chin and turns to leave, his mind already moving on to the next task on his production schedule. I'm going to edit the audio from today. Don't stay up late. You need the beauty sleep. I watch his back as he walks away. The director, retreating to his editing bay. And suddenly, the sterile white bathroom dissolves, and I am pulled back into the sepia-toned memory of a cramped, dusty apartment in Brooklyn, 7 years ago. Back when Brad was just a boy with a Canon DSLR and a head full of dreams that were too big for the room. You have to understand. He wasn't always a monster, or maybe he was. And I was just too blinded by the lens flare to see it, back then. Brad was the tortured artist, the NYU film school dropout who quoted Tarkovsky and swore he would never sell out to commercialism. We lived on ramen noodles and cheap bodega wine, sleeping on a mattress on the floor because he spent our rent money on a vintage lens. I was his muse. That's what he called me. He would film me sleeping, eating, reading on the fire escape in the golden hour light. He would gently tuck a strand of hair behind my ear. Not to fix the shot, but because he wanted to see my face. You have a face for cinema, Alice, he would whisper, his voice trembling with what I thought was love. You're going to be the star of my masterpiece. I believed him. I loved the way he looked at me, like I was the only source of light in his dark, grainy world. I didn't realize then that a muse is just a pretty object that sits still while the artist projects his ego onto it. I didn't realize that masterpiece was just another word for possession. The shift didn't happen overnight. It was a slow erosion, like water wearing down stone. It started with his failure. Brad spent 2 years working on a dark, gritty indie film, a pretentiously long black and white movie about urban decay. He poured everything into it, including my savings. When he submitted it to Sundance, he didn't just get rejected, he was ignored. Silence. No feedback. No accolades. Just the crushing indifference of the industry. He fell into a depression so deep it terrified me. He stopped filming. He stopped touching me. To cheer him up, I started making silly little videos on my phone, just us. Cooking disasters. Me trying to dance. Stupid, candid moments. I posted them on this new app, just for fun. And then, the notification exploded. One video of me laughing while burning toast went viral. 10,000 views. 50,000. 100,000. People didn't want his dark, brooding art. They wanted me. They wanted my clumsy, sunny, relatable humanity. I remember the night he realized it. He was sitting in the dark, watching the view count on my phone climb higher and higher. The blue light illuminated his face, casting long shadows into his hollow eyes. I thought he would be happy for us. I thought he would laugh. Instead, he looked at me with a terrifying mixture of envy and revelation. They don't know what they're watching, he muttered. They need guidance. They need production value. That was the moment the artist died and the director was born. He took the phone from my hand. Let me help you, he said. I can make this better. I can make you better. It started with better lighting. Then he started suggesting what I should wear. Then he started writing scripts for my candid moments. Don't laugh like that. It's too loud. He would correct me. Cry here, but make it a pretty cry. Don't scrunch your face. He took his failure as a director and buried it inside my success. He decided that if he couldn't be the star, he would be the puppeteer. And I, stupidly, gratefully, let him. I thought he was supporting me. I didn't see that he was hollowing me out to make room for his own ambition. Back in the present, the silence of the penthouse is heavy, broken only by the hum of the central air conditioning. I finish washing my face and walk out into the living room. Brad is in his office, headphones on, brow furrowed as he edits. He is completely absorbed in the digital world, which gives me the window I need. I walk over to the tech corner. A pile of equipment boxes that arrived this morning for the big live stream. I need to set the stage for his execution. And it has to look like an act of submission. I start unboxing the audio equipment, high-end shotgun microphones, XLR cables, and a multi-channel mixer. I know exactly how to set this up. I've watched him do it 1,000 times. And I've secretly watched tutorials on YouTube during my nap times, but I can't let him know that. To him, I am technologically illiterate. A pretty face who needs him to plug in the HDMI cable. Brad, I call out, pitching my voice to that helpless, confused frequency that feeds his ego. Babe, I'm trying to help set up the audio for the no-filter stream. But this cable looks weird. Is this the XLR or the quarter-inch thingy? He sighs. A sound of exaggerated burden. And slides one ear cup off. He doesn't get up. It's the XLR. Alice, the one with the 3 pins? I told you I'd handle the tech. You just worry about your skin. Perfect. He is dismissing me. He trusts my incompetence. I know. I just wanted to save you time. I say, sounding small. I read that for the raw vibe. We should use those sensitive ASMR mics to pick up the texture of the room, like, really immersive. He pauses, turning his chair around. The word immersive triggers his director brain. ASMR, he muses. That's actually smart. It creates intimacy. Good idea. He gestures vaguely at the box. Set them up under the main console. I'll fine-tune the gain levels later. He turns back to his screen. Dismissing me again. My heart hammers against my ribs. He just gave me permission to plant the bugs. I pull out the omnidirectional microphones, small, sleek, black cylinders capable of picking up a whisper from across the room. I don't set them up on the table where they should be. I crawl under the marble island, pretending to route the cables. With trembling fingers, I tape one microphone to the underside of the table, right where he usually sits. I tape another one behind the ceramic vase on the mantelpiece, aimed directly at the off-camera zone where he usually drags me when he wants to scream without being heard. These aren't just for the live stream. These are for the pre-show. These are for the rehearsal. I route the cables carefully, hiding them along the baseboards, feeding them into the main mixer, but leaving the live monitor channel open on a separate loop that records directly to a cloud drive he doesn't know exists. All done? I chirp, crawling out from under the table, dusting off my knees. I think I plugged them in right. Brad doesn't look up. Great. Leave the mixer alone. I don't want you messing up the frequencies. I smile at the back of his head. Okay. Babe, I have just rigged the house with a wiretap. And he thinks I was just being a helpful little assistant. This is the arrogance of the abuser. They believe their victims are too broken to be dangerous. They forget that when you break something, you create sharp edges. I walk over to the kitchen to pour a glass of water, my hands shaking slightly. Not from fear, but from the adrenaline of the hunt. I look at the ring light standing in the corner. The weapon from last night. I don't move it. It needs to be there. It's a prop in the play I am writing. Later that night, the apartment is dim, lit only by the ambient glow of the city skyline through the floor-to-ceiling windows. We are in bed. Brad is asleep, his breathing deep and rhythmic. He sleeps the sleep of the righteous. Untroubled by conscience, I lie awake, staring at the ceiling. The distance between us in this king-sized bed feels like an ocean. Cold and black, I reach out to the nightstand, where my phone is charging. I don't unlock it. I just tap the screen to check the time. 2:00 a.m. Then, very slowly, I slide my hand under the mattress, feeling for the small, hard lump of the backup recorder I hid there weeks ago. It's a cheap digital voice recorder, the kind students use for lectures. I pull it out silently. I slide out of bed, moving like a ghost. I go to the living room. Standing in the center of the stage, the red standby light of the main mixer blinks in the darkness. A tiny, unblinking eye. I need to test the sensitivity. I need to know if the trap will snap shut when it needs to. I stand 5 feet away from the hidden microphone under the table. I take a deep breath. The camera eats first. I whisper, barely exhaling the words. I look at the mixer. The green signal light flickers. It picked it up. It heard me. A grim satisfaction settles in my gut. I walk over to the window and press my forehead against the cold glass. Below me, Los Angeles is a grid of lights. Millions of people living their messy, uncurated lives. Somewhere out there are women like me, trapped in high-rise towers or suburban split levels, suffocating under the weight of someone else's love. I am doing this for Alice, the girl in the Polaroid, but I am also doing it for them. Brad wants a show. He wants a spectacle. I'm going to give him the greatest performance of his life. I look back at the sleeping form of my husband in the bedroom. Action. I mouth to the empty room. The next morning, the sun hits the penthouse with the force of a revelation. The countdown has begun. 3 days until the live stream. 3 days to lay the rest of the crumbs. Brad wakes up in a manic mood. The creative juices flowing. He summons me to the living room before I've even had coffee. He has a clipboard. He has a vision. Okay. Listen, he says, pacing back and forth, wearing his silk pajamas like a Roman toga. I've been thinking about the narrative arc. We start with you barefaced, looking vulnerable. I'll come in, supportive, holding your hand. We talk about the pressure of fame, the toxicity of social media. We frame us as the survivors. He stops, looking at me with intense, manic eyes. I need you to cry. Alice, can you do that? Can you cry on cue about how hard it is to be beautiful? I look at him, at the script he's building in the air. He wants me to cry about the pressure of beauty, while ignoring the bruise he put on my face. The irony is so sharp it could cut glass. I can cry. I say softly, I can definitely cry for you. Brad. He nods. Satisfied. Good. And then, at the climax, I'll wipe a tear from your cheek. It'll be the money shot. The moment the internet melts, he reaches out and mimes the action, his thumb brushing my cheekbone. It takes every ounce of my willpower not to bite his finger off. It sounds perfect. I lie. You're a genius. Brad. He preens. I know. Now, go get the steamer. This shirt has a wrinkle, and it's distracting me. I turn to go to the laundry room. But as I pass the main console, I see something that makes my blood run cold. The mixer. The settings have been changed. The knobs for the hidden microphones, the ones I carefully set to high last night, have been turned all the way down, zeroed out. My breath hitches. Did he find them? Did he check the lines while I was sleeping? I freeze, my hand hovering over the door handle. I look back at him. He's looking at his phone, humming, completely unbothered. If he found them, he would be screaming. He would be breaking things. So why are they off then? I remember. He's a control freak. He probably reset the board to neutral this morning just because he didn't set it himself. He didn't find the mics. He just reset the levels out of habit. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. It's a close call. Too close. I need to be smarter. I can't just rely on technology. I need insurance. I need a witness who can't be muted. I walk into the laundry room and pull out the steamer. The steam rising up like fog. I think of Chloe. I think of the brands. I think of the reporter Brad invited. Technology can fail. Wires can be cut. But human ego, that is a constant. I need to weaponize his ego so thoroughly that he won't even notice the noose tightening until he's swinging from it. I pick up my phone, hidden under a pile of towels. I open a burner email account I created months ago. I compose a message to the reporter, the one coming to the exclusive behind-the-scenes party. Subject, the angle you're missing. I hesitate, my thumb hovering over the send button. This is the point of no return. Once I send this, the train leaves the station. I look at the steamer, hissing like a snake. I hit send. The script is printed on heavy, cream-colored cardstock, the kind used for wedding invitations or funeral announcements. It sits on the kitchen island. 12 pages of dialogue that detail exactly how spontaneous and raw our truth is supposed to be. Brad has been drilling me for 4 hours. My feet are throbbing in the nude heels he insists make my calves look leaner, even though the camera will only be framing us from the waist up. Again, he says, not looking up from his monitor. You're rushing the emotional beat when you say, I felt so alone. You need to look down at your hands, count to 2, and then look at the lens. You're looking up too fast. It looks rehearsed. He is directing my trauma like it's a scene in a soap opera. The irony is suffocating. I am actually alone, standing in a multi-million-dollar glass box with a man who sees me as a prop. But he wants me to perform loneliness in a way that is aesthetically pleasing to the demographic of women aged 18 to 34. I take a breath. The air in the penthouse recycled and cool. I felt so alone. I repeat, looking at my hands. I study the manicure I got yesterday, ballet slipper pink. Innocent and clean. I count to 2. 1, 2. I look up, letting my eyes widen slightly, feigning a vulnerability I no longer feel. But then Brad found me, and he showed me that it's okay to be broken. Brad nods, finally satisfied. Better, but softer on broken. Whisper it, like it's a secret. He walks over to me, invading my personal space. He smells of sandalwood and coffee. He reaches out and adjusts the strap of my dress, his fingers grazing the bruise he put there, which is currently hidden under 3 layers of concealer. We're selling hope. Alice, he murmurs, his hand lingering on my neck, a thumb pressing gently against my pulse point. It's a threat wrapped in a caress. If you don't sell it, they won't buy it. And if they don't buy it, we lose everything. You don't want to go back to being a nobody in Brooklyn, do you? No. Brad, I whisper, the script tasting like ash in my mouth. I don't. He smiles. That dazzling, camera-ready smile that has charmed sponsors and followers alike. Good. 5-minute break. Then we do the Q&A section. I wrote some questions for the moderator to ask. You need to memorize the answers about the miscarriage. My blood freezes. We never had a miscarriage. It was a false alarm. A late period 3 years ago. But in Brad's narrative, it is a tragedy we survived together. A bonding moment that tests our resilience. He is rewriting our biological history for engagement. I watch him walk to the fridge to grab a sparkling water, and a cold, hard rage settles in my stomach. He is stealing my grief before I even have a chance to experience it. He is monetizing hypothetical pain. I need to get to the bathroom. I need to prepare the weapon. I slip into the master bath and lock the door. I turn on the faucet, letting the water run loud to mask the sound of my movements. I open the cabinet under the sink. There, hidden behind a stack of extra towels, is the bottle I bought with cash at a drugstore 3 towns over. It's not the high-end, organic, gentle cleanser we promote. It is a bottle of industrial strength, oil-based makeup remover, the kind drag queens use to take off stage paint, the kind that dissolves waterproof mascara in seconds. On the counter sits the bottle we will use for the livestream pure and gentle micellar water. A sponsor's product. It's weak. It would take 20 minutes of scrubbing to get through the layers of camouflage Chloe is going to paint on me. I can't afford 20 minutes. I need 20 seconds. With steady hands, I unscrew the cap of the sponsor's bottle and pour the clear, weak liquid down the drain. It swirls away. Useless. Then, I take the heavy-duty oil. It's slightly thicker, but clear enough to pass inspection under studio lights. I pour it into the sponsor's bottle, filling it to the brim. The smell is stronger, a chemical tang of mineral oil. But on camera, smell doesn't transmit. I screw the cap back on tight. Now, when I go to gently wipe away the mask will vanish instantly. It will be violent. It will be immediate. The bruise will be revealed not as a slow fade, but as a jump scare. I wipe the bottle down to remove my fingerprints, just out of habit, and place it prominently on the vanity tray, ready for your close-up. I whisper to the bottle. I unlock the door and step back out. Brad is on the phone, his voice oozing charm. Yes, Chloe. Exactly. We want the before look to be absolutely flawless. I want her skin to look like porcelain, no texture, heavy coverage. He listens, nodding. Right. Right. Because when she takes it off, the contrast needs to be shocking. We want people to gasp. I stand in the hallway, listening to him give the instructions for his own destruction. He thinks he's ordering a dramatic makeup transformation. He doesn't realize he's ordering the construction of a Trojan horse. He hangs up and turns to me, clapping his hands. Okay. Break's over. Let's run the apology segment. The part where you apologize to the fans for not being honest sooner. I walk back to the mark, a piece of blue tape on the floor. My legs are trembling. Not from fear, but from the physical exhaustion of standing still for hours. I'm sorry. I begin, reciting the lines he wrote. I'm sorry I tried to be perfect. Perfection is a lie. Brad stops me. Stop. You're fidgeting. Why are you fidgeting? He walks over, his face darkening. Are you not taking this seriously? He grabs my shoulders, his fingers digging into the muscle. Do you know how much money is riding on this? Do you know what happens if we fail? He shakes me. Just once. Hard enough to make my teeth rattle. Focus. Alice, be the victim. You're good at playing the victim, aren't you? I look up at him, and for a second, the mask slips. I look at him with pure, unadulterated hatred. He blinks, stepping back, confused by the flash of steel in my eyes, but I cover it instantly with a sob. I bury my face in my hands. I'm sorry, Brad. I cry, my voice breaking. I'm just so nervous. I want to make you proud. The tension leaves his shoulders. He relaxes. He buys it. He thinks he broke me again. It's okay, baby, he says, his voice turning syrupy sweet. I know it's hard. That's why I'm here, to push you, to make you great. He checks his watch. You know what? You're tired. You're emotional. That's good for the camera, but bad for rehearsal. We're done for today. He walks over to the table and picks up my phone. My heart stops. I'm going to take this, he says casually, slipping my iPhone into his pocket. You need a digital detox before the big day. No distractions, no comments, just you, me, and the script. He smiles. A benevolent jailer. I'll lock us in tonight. We'll order in. Just relax. He thinks he has cut my lines of communication. He thinks he has isolated me in the tower. He doesn't know about the burner email I sent to the reporter. He doesn't know about the oil in the bottle. He doesn't know about the microphones taped under the table. He walks toward the bedroom, whistling. I watch him go. He has taken my phone, but he has left me with everything I need. I follow him, a dutiful wife walking into the cage, knowing that I hold the key in my pocket. The night before the broadcast, the penthouse feels less like a home and more like a waiting room for a surgery I might not survive. The air conditioning is humming at a low, persistent frequency, a mechanical heartbeat that seems to sync with the throbbing of the bruise under my eye. It is 11:00 p.m. Brad is still up, pacing the length of the living room, his bare feet slapping against the polished concrete floor. He is in a state of manic preparation. A general on the eve of a battle he thinks he has already won. The furniture has been rearranged to create the perfect intimate corner, 2 armchairs angled at 45 degrees. A low coffee table, adorned with a single, tasteful candle. And the backdrop of the city lights blurred into a romantic bouquet. He has checked the lighting rig 4 times in the last hour, obsessing over the color temperature. It needs to be warm. He mutters to himself, adjusting a barn door on the key light by a millimeter. Warm. Inviting. Safe. We need to look like a sanctuary. I sit on the sofa, knees pulled to my chest, watching him construct the stage for his own execution. I am the prop he is polishing, the weapon he is sharpening, unaware that the blade is pointed at his own throat. He stops pacing and turns to me, his eyes bright with the dopamine hit of potential virality. Alice, get in the chair, he commands, snapping his fingers. I need to check the shadow fall on your face. If the light is too harsh, the makeup might look cakey before the reveal. We need the illusion of natural perfection. I unfold myself from the sofa and walk to the beige linen armchair. My body feels heavy, as if my bones have been replaced with lead pipes. I sit down, folding my hands in my lap, assuming the posture of the penitent wife. Brad steps behind the camera, looming in the darkness beyond the ring light's glare. Chin down. He directs, look up through your lashes. Sad. Alice, give me sad. I drop my chin. I look up. I don't have to act. The sadness is a physical weight in my chest. A stone I have been carrying for 3 years. Perfect. He whispers. The shutter clicking. That's the thumbnail. That's the image that gets the click. He steps out from behind the tripod and walks over to me. Crouching down so we are eye level, he reaches out and touches my cheek, his fingers ghosting over the layers of concealer. You're going to be a star tomorrow. Baby, the world is going to love you for this. They love a survivor story. I look at him. Really look at him. In this soft light. He is handsome. He has the kind of face you trust, the symmetrical features, the earnest brow. It is terrifying how well the monster wears the skin of a man. A sudden, sharp wave of nausea hits me. It's not fear. It's doubt. A treacherous, insidious whisper in the back of my mind. What if I'm wrong? What if I destroy him and I feel nothing? What if the world turns on me instead? He is my husband. We stood at an altar. We made vows. There is a terrifying gravity to the history we share. A tangled web of dependency that feels impossible to cut. Brad, I say, my voice trembling for real. What if we just canceled? What if we just took a break? We could go offline. We could just be us. He freezes. His hand drops from my face. The warmth evaporates from his eyes, replaced by a cold, dead stare. Cancel, he repeats, the word sounding foreign and disgusting in his mouth. We have sponsors? Alice. We have contracts? We have 1 million people waiting. He stands up, towering over me. We don't get to be just us anymore. Us is a brand. And you don't cancel a brand launch because you're having a mood swing. He turns his back on me, dismissing my plea as weakness. Go to bed, he says, his voice flat. I need to recalibrate the white balance. You're useless to me when you're like this. I stand up, my legs shaking. The moment of weakness passes, replaced by a cold resolve. He just confirmed it. There is no us. There is only the brand. I walk to the bedroom, the heavy door clicking shut behind me, sealing out the hum of the equipment. I am alone in the dark, but the silence is loud. I walk into the walk-in closet and sink to the floor, surrounded by the expensive clothes that hang like ghosts of the women I've pretended to be. I reach into the pocket of my silk robe and pull out the Polaroid. It is crinkled at the edges now, warm from being held so tight. I hold it up to the sliver of light coming from under the door. The girl in the photo smiles back at me. She is poor. She is tired. She is wearing a thrift store sweater, but her eyes are alive. I look at her, And I remember who she was before the filters, before the scripts, before the fear. She didn't care about angles. She didn't care about engagement rates. She cared about truth. I pressed the photo to my chest, closing my eyes. I am not doing this to hurt him. I am doing this to save her. I am performing a rescue mission for my own soul. The fear begins to recede, replaced by a strange, vibrating calm. It's the calm of a soldier checking their parachute before the jump. There is no going back up the plane. Gravity is the only law that matters now. I put the photo back in the shoebox on the top shelf, burying it under a scarf. I don't need to hold it anymore. I have memorized her face. I stand up, wipe my dry eyes, and walk to the bathroom. I see the bottle of micellar water sitting on the tray, the oil-filled bomb waiting to detonate. I give it a tiny, imperceptible nod. See you tomorrow. I think. I crawl into the massive bed, pulling the duvet up to my chin. An hour later, Brad comes in. He smells of ozone and ambition. He slides into bed beside me, his body heat radiating across the sheets. He doesn't say goodnight. He reaches over and plugs his phone into the charger. The screen lighting up the room for a second, a notification from his bank. A deposit alert from a sponsor. He sighs. A sound of deep contentment. He drapes an arm over my waist, pulling me backward against his chest. It is a proprietary claim. Mine, his arm says. My asset. My creation. I lie rigid, forcing my breathing to remain even. His breath hits the back of my neck, warm and rhythmic. I am sleeping with the enemy, and he is dreaming of applause. I stare into the darkness, my eyes wide open. I count the hours. 6 hours until sunrise, 10 hours until Chloe arrives, 12 hours until the cameras roll. Every second is a grain of sand slipping through the hourglass of his reputation. Morning breaks with a violent clarity. The sun over Los Angeles is relentless, bleaching the sky white. I wake up before the alarm. Brad is already gone from the bed. I can hear him in the living room, talking on the phone, his business voice, loud and confident. Yes, absolutely. The narrative is all about redemption. It's going to be very emotional. I get up and go through the motions. Brush teeth, shower. I put on the robe. I walk out to the kitchen. The stage is set. The curtains are drawn to control the light. The equipment is humming. Brad is wearing a crisp white linen shirt, the humble artist look. He sees me and points to the coffee pot. Made you some. Drink it black. No dairy today. It bloats your face. I pour the coffee. It is bitter and scalding. I drink it like a potion. Chloe will be here in an hour. Brad says, checking his watch. Remember the plan. You let her pile it on. You complain a little about it being too heavy, just to sell it to her. But you let her do it. I want you to look like a porcelain doll. He walks over and grabs my shoulders, looking deep into my eyes. Alice, look at me. I meet his gaze. I love you, he says. It sounds like a line from a script. It sounds like he's practicing for the close-up. I'm doing this for us, so we can be free. The lie is so audacious, it almost makes me laugh. Free, he means rich. He means famous. I know. Brad. I say, my voice soft. I love you too. It is the last lie I will ever tell him. The doorbell rings. It's time. Brad jumps slightly. A bundle of nerves. Okay. Showtime mode. Remember. No phones. I have yours. Focus on me. Focus on my voice. He goes to the door and opens it. Chloe is there, looking even more chaotic than yesterday, dragging her case. But this time, she looks different. Her eyes dart to me, then to Brad, then back to me. There is a tightness in her jaw. She knows something is up. I gave her the signal yesterday, the note, the tension. And hopefully, the email I sent to the reporter has done its work. Morning. Party people, she says. But her voice is a little too high, a little too brittle. Ready to make magic, Brad ushers her in. Make her perfect. Chloe. I want her unreachable. I sit in the makeup chair for the final time. Chloe starts unpacking. Brad hovers for a moment, then gets distracted by a notification on his iPad, the only device he hasn't locked away. Sponsorship money just cleared. He mutters, grinning. He walks away to the tech corner to do a final sound check. He puts on his headphones. He is distracted. Chloe leans in close to apply the primer. Her hand is shaking slightly. Alice, she whispers, her lips barely moving. That reporter. The one you told Brad to invite? He's downstairs. He texted me. He says he got an anonymous tip. My heart slams against my ribs. It worked. The pieces are moving. Good. I whisper back, staring straight ahead. Just do the makeup. Chloe, make it thick. Make it look like a mask. Chloe nods, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. She begins to layer the foundation. 1 layer, 2 layers, 3. She uses the heavy, theatrical stuff. She contours my face until my bone structure looks sharp enough to cut. She covers the bruise until it is a distant memory, buried under pigment and powder. Brad calls out from across the room. Sound is crisp. The ASMR mics are picking up everything. I can hear you breathing from here, he laughs, delighted with his own genius. I smile under the layer of paint. You have no idea what those mics are going to pick up. Brad, I think you have no idea. 2 hours later, I am ready. I look in the mirror. I don't recognize myself. I look like a digitally rendered version of a human being. My skin is flawless. My eyes are huge. I am beautiful and terrifying. Brad stands behind me, admiring his property. Stunning, he says. Absolutely stunning. Now, go put on the white dress, the innocent one. I walk to the bedroom to change. The white dress hangs on the door. I slip it on. It zips up the back, tight and constricting. High neck, long sleeves. I look like a sacrificial virgin. I walk back out. The reporter has arrived. He is sitting on the sofa, looking uncomfortable. He is a sharp-eyed man named Miller, known for exposing fake charities. He holds a notepad. Brad is charming him, pouring water, laughing. We just want to be transparent. Brad is saying, we want to show the real us. Miller looks up as I enter. His eyes narrow. He sees the heavy makeup. He sees the tension in my shoulders. He looks at Brad, then back at me. He knows, or he suspects. Mrs. Sterling, he says, standing up. You look prepared. Thank you, I say. We're very excited. Brad claps his hands. Okay, 5 minutes to air Miller. You have the best seat in the house. Just watch the magic happen. Brad moves to the control panel. He starts the countdown timer. The big screen TV on the wall shows the waiting room for the stream. The number of viewers is climbing. 800. 0, 0, 0. 900. 0, 0, 0. Comments are flying by too fast to read. Oh my God, can't wait. Power couple. Are they breaking up? I love Alice. I walk to the table. I sit down. I check the table. The bottle of micellar water is there, gleaming innocently under the lights. The cotton pads are stacked in a neat tower. The hidden microphones are taped beneath the wood. Inches from my knees, Brad sits next to me. He takes my hand. His palm is sweaty. Here we go, he whispers. Remember the script. Cry when I squeeze your hand. I look at him. I won't forget, I say. The timer hits 0. The red on-air light blazes to life. 1 million people are watching. Brad flashes his $1 million smile at the lens. Hello, world, he says. His voice smooth as silk. Welcome to the truth. I stare into the black eye of the camera. And for the first time in years, I don't blink. The red on-air light is a cyclops eye, unblinking and bloodshot, staring into the center of our living room. It is the only thing that matters in Brad's world. the sun around which his entire ego orbits. "Welcome, everyone," Brad says, his voice dropping an octave into that rich, soothing timbre that he practiced for weeks in the shower. "We are so incredibly humbled that you chose to spend your Sunday evening with us." He pauses for effect, looking at me with a look of adoration that is so perfectly calibrated it makes my stomach turn. Tonight isn't about the glitz. It isn't about the filters or the sponsorships. Tonight is about stripping it all away. It's about being naked in front of the people who made us who we are. He squeezes my hand, which is resting on the table. To the million people watching on their phones, it looks like a gesture of support, but under the table, hidden by the tablecloth, his thumb is digging into the soft flesh between my index finger and thumb, pressing down on a nerve cluster with bruising force. It is his way of saying, "Smile brighter. You look dead." I smile. I widen my eyes. I let the pain anchor me. "That's right, Brad," I say, my voice breathy and light. "Exactly the way he directed. We want to show you the real us, the messy, unpolished us." The irony is so thick I can taste it like copper in my mouth. We are sitting in a room that has been staged to look messy, with carefully placed throw blankets and a stack of books Brad has never opened. While he talks about authenticity, the comments on the monitor to our left are scrolling so fast they are a blur of color hearts, fire emojis, crying faces, couple goals. I'm crying already. Alice looks like an angel. Brad glances at the monitor, and I see the dopamine hit register in his pupils. His pupils dilate. He feeds on this. He is a vampire. And their attention is the blood. "We gathered some questions from you guys," Brad says, picking up the iPad. "We wanted to have a real conversation before we do the unmasking." He chuckles, a self-deprecating sound. "But first, I want to ask Alice something." He turns to me, pivoting his body so the camera captures his listening face. This wasn't in the script. My heart stutters. He's improvising. He's feeling confident, high on the numbers, and he wants to milk the drama. "Alice, babe," he says softly, "what was the moment you realized that I was the one who could save you?" The script called for me to talk about how he supported my career. It did not call for saving. He is rewriting the narrative live, painting me as the damsel and himself as the knight. He wants me to validate his God complex in front of a stadium-sized audience. I feel the microphone taped under the table, inches from my knees. I know it's sensitive. I know it picks up everything. I shift in my chair, the silk of my dress rustling against the leather seat, a sound that, through the ASMR mics, will sound like a thunderclap of friction. I look at him. I don't give him the answer he wants. "Save me," I repeat, my voice slightly confused, slightly off-key. I didn't know I was lost. "Brad," I thought. I thought we were building something together, like partners. I emphasize the word partners. It's a subtle deviation, a tiny rebellion. Brad's smile freezes for a millisecond. It's a glitch in the simulation. He hates being corrected. He hates when I don't follow the emotional arc he mapped out. "Of course. Partners." He corrects quickly, laughing it off. But his grip on my hand tightens. It's a vice grip now. He is crushing my fingers. "I meant, saved you from the chaos of the world. You were so overwhelmed when we met." He is trying to force me back into the box. "Right," I say, looking down at our joined hands. I let a beat of silence stretch out. In radio, dead air is a sin. In a live stream, it's tension. I lean forward, closer to the hidden mic under the table. "You definitely changed everything, Brad," I say. "You sculpted me, like a piece of clay. You cut away all the parts that didn't fit." To the audience, it sounds like a poetic metaphor for self-improvement. To Brad, it's a direct accusation. He stiffens. He knows I'm off script. He knows I'm using words we use in our fights, not our press releases. Sculpted, he repeats, his tone sharp. That's a poetic way to put it. Honey? He pulls his hand away from mine abruptly, unable to maintain the facade of gentleness while he wants to strangle me. The sound of his hand slapping his own thigh in frustration is soft. But the mic catches it, a dull, meaty thud. Miller, the reporter sitting in the corner, shifts in his seat. I see him out of the corner of my eye. He's writing something in his notepad. Brad ignores him. Brad is focused on the comments. What does she mean? Sculpted, one comment asks. Is she okay? Asks another. Brad sees them too. He needs to regain control. He needs a distraction. Let's take a question from the audience, he announces. His voice a little too loud, a little too manic. He scrolls frantically. Here's one from Sarah, 99. She asks, how do you guys handle fights? You seem so perfect. Brad laughs. Relieved. This is a softball question. He has a rehearsed answer for this. Great question. Sarah. He beams. We don't really fight. We have passionate debates, but we never go to bed angry. Right. Alice, he looks at me, daring me to contradict him. The warning in his eyes is clear. Play the part, or pay the price later. I look at the camera. I don't look at him. We don't go to bed angry. I echo, my voice flat. Brad makes sure of that. He has a rule. We have to resolve everything, or else. I let the or else hang there. It sounds innocent enough. But the delivery is hollow. Brad's jaw clenches. I can hear the grinding of his teeth. It's a low, rhythmic sound, like stones rubbing together. Grind, grind. The ASMR mics are feeding that sound directly into the earbuds of a million people. They might not identify it yet, but they can hear the tension. They can hear the sound of a man holding back an explosion. Or else we just can't sleep, Brad interjects. His laugh sounding like breaking glass, because we love each other too much. He reaches for his water glass. His movements jerky. He takes a gulp. His Adam's apple bobbing violently. He sets the glass down hard. Clink. The sound rings out. Sharp and jarring. You seem tense. Babe. I say. It's the line he uses on me when he's gaslighting me. You seem crazy. You seem hormonal. I flip it on him. Are you hot? You're sweating. I reach out and brush a bead of sweat from his temple. My hand is cold. He flinches. He actually flinches away from my touch on live camera. The movement is small, but undeniable. He pulls back like I burned him. The comments explode. Did he just flinch? Why is he acting so weird? He looks scared. Brad sees the reaction. He realizes he is losing the room. He realizes that the perfect husband character is slipping. He needs a reset. He needs the big moment, the unmasking. It's the only way to get the sympathy back. To make the audience focus on my face instead of his behavior. I'm just excited. Alice. He snaps. His tone biting before he recovers and adds a sugary layer. Excited for you to show them. Why don't we do it? Why don't we show them the real you right now? He is rushing the timeline. We were supposed to talk for another 20 minutes. But he wants to shut me up. He wants to scrub my face and leave me exposed and vulnerable so he can comfort me and be the hero again. Are you sure? I ask. Playing the hesitant victim. It's scary. Brad. I'm right here, he says, moving his chair closer, crowding me. Be brave. For them. He gestures to the camera. He picks up the bottle of my cellar water from the tray. The bottle I filled with oil. He holds it up like a holy relic. This is it. Guys. He tells the camera. The moment of truth. No more hiding. He hands me the bottle. He hands me the weapon. Do it. He commands softly. But the microphone picks up the steel in his voice. Take it off. I take the bottle. It feels heavy in my hand. I look at Miller. Miller stops writing and looks at me. He nods. A barely perceptible dip of his chin. Go. He is saying, burn it down. I look at Chloe, standing behind the ring light. She is chewing her lip, her eyes wide with terror and anticipation. And finally, I look at Brad. He is smiling, but his eyes are dead. He thinks he is about to humiliate me into submission. He thinks he is about to strip me bare. He has no idea that when I take this mask off, I am not revealing a victim. I am revealing the evidence. Okay, I say. For the truth, I unscrew the cap. The smell of the mineral oil wafts up, sharp and chemical. Hidden from the audience but pungent to us. Brad doesn't notice. He is too busy watching the view count hit 2 million. I pick up a stack of cotton pads. I soak them. I soak them until they are dripping. I don't use the gentle dabbing motion he taught me. I want this to be fast. I want it to be brutal. I lift the soaked pad to my face. I hope you're ready. Brad, I whisper. I hope you're ready to see what you made. He nods, impatient. Just do it. Alice. I press the pad to my left cheek. The oil cuts through the 3 layers of foundation. The color corrector. The setting powder. It dissolves the expensive lie in seconds. I wipe. I wipe hard. A smear of beige sludge comes away on the cotton, leaving behind the dark, purple-yellow truth of my skin. I lower my hand. I look straight into the lens. The silence in the room is absolute. But the silence in the chat is about to break. I turn my face to the side, giving the camera the profile shot Brad wanted. The bruise is a galaxy of violence on my cheekbone. It is ugly. It is undeniable. It is fresh. Brad is looking at the monitor. He expects to see a clean, pale face, maybe a little red from the scrubbing. He expects to see vulnerability. He sees the bruise. He freezes. His brain cannot compute what he is seeing. He put that bruise there. Yes. But he truly believed that I had fixed it, that I had covered it, that I was playing the game. He stares at the monitor, his mouth opening slightly. He looks at me, then at the screen, then at me. The realization hits him like a physical blow. The makeup didn't cover it. Or, I took it off too well. He doesn't understand the chemistry, but he understands the image. And the image is a crime scene. Alice, he chokes out. The name comes out as a strangled question. He forgets the script. He forgets the supportive husband act. He is just a man who realizes the body he buried has just floated to the surface. What? What is that? He points a shaking finger at my face. He is trying to frame it as an accident. An allergy. Something. Anything other than what it is. Did you hurt yourself? The gaslighting attempt is clumsy. Desperate. The microphone picks up the frantic thumping of his heart, or maybe it's mine. Thump, thump. Thump, thump. I drop the dirty cotton pad on the pristine white table. It lands with a wet plat. No. Brad. I say, my voice clear, calm, and amplified by $10,000 worth of audio equipment. I didn't hurt myself. I turned to him, letting the camera see the full extent of the injury. You did. Last night, with the ring light, because I didn't smile enough. I say it simply. I say it without tears. I say it like I am reading the weather report. And then, I wait for the explosion. The silence that follows my accusation is not empty. It is heavy, suffocating, and electric. It is the kind of silence that precedes a tsunami, where the water recedes from the shore just before the wave crashes down. Brad stares at me, his mouth frozen in a half-smile that has nowhere to go. His eyes dart from the bruise on my cheek to the camera lens, then to the monitor where the chat has stopped moving for a split second, paralyzed by shock, before erupting into a chaotic waterfall of text. What the fuck is that real? Did she say he hit her? Call 911. The comments are scrolling so fast they are illegible. A blur of neon text that spells the end of his career. Brad's brain is misfiring. He cannot process that the script has been burned. He reverts to his default setting, the director. He lets out a laugh, a sharp, barking sound that cracks in the middle. Okay. Cut, he shouts, waving his hand at the camera as if he can command a live feed to stop recording. Cut. Very funny. Alice. You really got me. He turns to the lens. His face slick with a sudden sheen of sweat. Guys. Isn't she amazing? That is special effects makeup. We wanted to do a skit about domestic violence awareness, to show how real it can look. He reaches out to touch my face, to wipe off the fake bruise, to prove to the world that it is just paint. His hand is trembling violently. I don't pull away. I let him touch me. I let his thumb drag across the swollen, tender skin of my cheekbone. There is no paint to smudge. There is no latex to peel off. There is only damaged tissue and heat. He presses harder, desperate to find the lie, hurting me in the process. I flinch. A small, involuntary jerk of my head, and the movement is caught in 4K resolution. It doesn't wipe off. Brad, I say softly. My voice is steady, amplified by the microphones I planted. Because it's not makeup. You threw the ring light at me at 11:43 p.m. last night. You were wearing your blue pajamas. You said I looked miserable. I give the details calmly, anchoring the accusation in reality. The specificity is a nail in his coffin. Brad pulls his hand back as if my skin is acid. The skit defense is dead. He looks at the monitor. The comments have turned. They are no longer confused. They are enraged. He's lying. Look at his hand shaking. He hit her. Monster. The realization hits him. He is losing the audience. His narcissism kicks into survival mode. If he can't deny the bruise, he has to discredit the victim. His face changes. The loving husband mask melts away, revealing the sneering, condescending bully I have lived with for 3 years. He leans into the microphone, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, gaslighting me and a million other people simultaneously. Alice, he says, shaking his head with mock pity. I know you've been under a lot of pressure lately. I know you've been confused. He taps his temple, a universal gesture for crazy. We talked about your medication. Honey, you promised you would take it. He looks at the camera, his eyes wide and pleading. She creates these narratives in her head. It's a tragedy. Really? I try to protect her. But sometimes, she does this to herself for attention. It is a monstrous lie, delivered with Academy Award-level conviction. He is trying to paint me as the unstable artist, and himself as the long-suffering caretaker. From the corner of the room, a shadow moves. Miller, the reporter, stands up. He has been a silent observer until now. A piece of furniture in Brad's stage play. But now he steps into the light. Walking into the frame of the wide-angle shot, Brad startles, having forgotten he was even there. Whoa. Miller. Stay back. Brad snaps, his control fraying. This is a private family moment. We're cutting the feed. He reaches for the keyboard to kill the stream. I wouldn't do that, Miller says. His voice is dry, unimpressed, and authoritative. He doesn't look like a fan. He looks like a prosecutor. If you cut the feed now, with 3 million witnesses, the police will just break down your door faster, at least right now. You have a chance to explain why your wife has a contusion consistent with blunt force trauma. Miller stands behind the table, looking down at Brad. He is the physical manifestation of the judgment that is raining down from the internet. And for the record, Miller adds, looking at his notepad, I checked with her doctor. Alice isn't prescribed any medication. But you are, aren't you? Brad, for anger management. Brad freezes, his hand hovering over the end stream button. His secrets are being weaponized against him in real time. He looks at Miller with pure hatred. You set me up, he hisses. Forgetting the microphone under the table, is picking up every breath. "You little bitch." He turns to me. The venom spilling out. "You planned this. You invited him." The ASMR microphone captures the grit in his voice. The sound of his teeth grinding. It is the sound of a predator cornered. I pick up my glass of water. My hand is steady. I take a sip. The ice cubes clink softly tink. Tink, a sound of domestic normalcy amidst the chaos. "I didn't set you up, Brad," I say, placing the glass down. "I just turned on the lights. You did the rest yourself." I look at the camera. He calls me his muse. I tell the audience, but a muse is just a thing you use until it breaks. And when I broke, he didn't try to fix me. He tried to paint over the cracks. Brad stands up, his chair scraping violently against the floor, a screech that tears through the audio feed. He can't sit still anymore. The fight or flight response is flooding his system with adrenaline. He paces behind the table, running his hands through his hair, messing up the perfect coiffure. He looks wild. "You think they believe you?" he shouts, pointing a finger at me. "I made you. You were nothing before me. You were a waitress in Brooklyn wearing thrift store rags. I gave you this." He gestures frantically at the penthouse, at the expensive equipment, at the view. "I gave you a life." He is unraveling. He is proving my point with every word. He thinks he is defending himself, but he is confessing. He is admitting that he views me as property, as an investment that has gone rogue. The comments are scrolling so fast they are a white blur. He's admitting it. "Narcissist. Someone save her." I'm recording this. Miller steps closer to the camera, addressing the audience directly. "For those watching," he says calmly, "we are currently in the penthouse of Brad and Alice Sterling. I am a journalist with the LA Chronicle. I am witnessing Mr. Sterling pacing aggressively and shouting at his wife, who is seated and non-confrontational. Miller is narrating the crime scene. He is turning the live stream into a deposition. Brad lunges at Miller. "Shut up, get out of my house." He grabs Miller's arm. It is a mistake. Miller doesn't move. He just looks at Brad's hand on his jacket. "Assaulting a member of the press on live stream?" Miller asks, raising an eyebrow. "Add it to the list." Brad recoils. Realizing he has touched the third rail, he backs away, hyperventilating. He looks at me. He expects me to jump in, to de-escalate, to soothe him like I always do. "Alice," he pleads, his voice cracking, swinging wildly from rage to begging. Tell them we love each other. Tell them it's a mistake. We can fix this. We can reshoot. We can't reshoot reality." "Brad," I say. I stand up slowly. I am wearing the white dress he chose for me, the symbol of purity he wanted to exploit. Now, standing next to his disheveled, red-faced madness, I look like a statue of justice. There is no take two. I pick up the Polaroid photo from the table I had placed it there earlier. Face down. I turn it over. I hold it up to the camera lens. It's the picture of us in the old apartment, happy and poor. This was the last time we were real. I say, "You killed this boy. Brad, you killed him to become this." I gesture to the man trembling in the designer shirt. "And you tried to kill the girl in this picture too, but she survived." I lower the photo. "And she is done being your prop." Brad collapses into his chair, burying his face in his hands. He is sobbing now. But it is the ugly, selfish sobbing of a man who knows he has lost his toys. He isn't crying for me. He is crying for the sponsors who are canceling contracts as we speak. He is crying for the followers who are unsubscribing by the thousands. The number on the screen is dropping, not the viewers. The viewers are increasing to 2 million now, but the follower count, it is free-falling. He is watching his digital soul evaporate. I stand over him, not with triumph, but with a profound, exhausting pity. He is so small, without the camera angles, without the lighting, without the fear he instills in me. He is just a sad, angry man in an empty room. I look at Chloe, who is standing by the door, tears streaming down her face. She is holding her phone up, filming from another angle. I nod to her. She opens the door. From the hallway, the sound of heavy boots approaches. Police radios crackle. The doorman must have called. Or maybe one of the million people watching. It doesn't matter. The cavalry is here. Brad hears the radios. His head snaps up. Panic, raw and primal, floods his face. No, he whispers. No, you didn't. He looks at me, betrayal in his eyes. I'm your husband. Ex-husband? I correct him. The police officers step into the frame. Brad Sterling, one of them, asks. Brad stands up, looking for an exit, looking for a camera cut, looking for a way to edit this scene. But the stream keeps running. The red light keeps blinking. The world keeps watching. 2 uniformed officers step into the frame, their dark navy uniforms creating a jarring visual dissonance against the curated beige and cream palette of our living room. They look like ink stains on a wedding dress. The taller officer, a man with a buzz cut and a face carved from granite, steps around the spilled water and the discarded cotton pads. He doesn't look at the camera. He doesn't look at the lighting rig. He looks directly at Brad, who is currently slumped in his chair, wiping snot from his nose with the sleeve of his $300 shirt. Bradford Sterling, the officer, asks again, his voice flat and bored, the voice of a man who has seen 1,000 domestic disputes and is immune to the drama. Brad flinches, his head snapping up. For a second, he tries to summon the persona. He tries to straighten his spine, to find the director mask. But it's shattered on the floor. Yes, he croaks, clearing his throat to find a more masculine register. Yes, that's me. Officers, thank God you're here. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. My wife is having an episode. He gestures toward me with a trembling hand, trying to direct the scene one last time. She's not well. She's off her meds. Look at her, he pleads, pointing at my face, at the bruise that is currently being broadcast to 2 million people. She did that to herself. She's hysterical. The officer doesn't even glance at me. He's looking at Miller, who is standing calmly in the corner, holding his press pass. Miller gives a subtle nod. The officer turns back to Brad. Sir, please stand up and place your hands behind your back. The command is simple, but in the acoustic perfection of our apartment, it sounds like a gunshot. Brad blinks, his brain short-circuiting. What? No, you're not listening. I'm the victim here. I called you. He didn't call them. He knows he didn't. But he lies as easily as he breathes. I'm a public figure. You can't just walk in here and... Stand up. Sir, the officer repeats, his hand drifting to the handcuffs on his belt. The metallic clink of the cuffs hitting the belt buckle is picked up by the ASMR microphones under the table. It is a sharp, cold sound that cuts through Brad's bluster. Brad looks at the camera. He realizes the red light is still on. He realizes the world is watching him being treated like a common criminal. Panic flares in his eyes, not the fear of jail, but the fear of bad optics. He lunges toward the table, his hand reaching for the end stream button on the console. Turn it off, he screams, his voice cracking. Alice, turn the damn thing off. I don't move. I sit statue still in my white dress, my hands folded in my lap, watching him unravel. I am the audience now. The second officer, a younger woman, steps forward and intercepts him before he can reach the console. She grabs his wrist. Brad reacts on instinct, the instinct of a bully who is used to being the strongest person in the room. He jerks his arm back, shoving her. Don't touch me, he roars. It is a fatal mistake. You do not shove a police officer, especially not on live video. The energy in the room shifts instantly from administrative to kinetic. Sir, stop resisting, the female officer shouts. The 2 of them descend on him. They spin him around. Brad is thrashing now, knocking into the table. The vase of white lilies, the symbol of our pure love, wobbles and crashes to the floor. Crash. The sound is deafening. Water and glass explode across the polished concrete. The illusion of the sanctuary is physically destroyed. Brad is slammed face first onto the table, right next to the dirty cotton pad that holds the evidence of his crime. His cheek is pressed against the wood, distorting his features. "You're hurting me. Police brutality," he screams, his voice muffled. "I have lawyers, I have millions of followers, it is pathetic." It is the cry of a man who thinks his internet clout is a currency that works in the real world. The taller officer leans his weight onto Brad's back, pulling his arms together. "Bradford Sterling, you are under arrest for domestic battery and assaulting an officer," he recites, the Miranda rights flowing out in a monotone rhythm that contrasts with Brad's chaotic shrieking. Click, click. The ratcheting sound of the handcuffs tightening is the loudest thing in the room. It is the sound of a steel trap snapping shut. I watch the handcuffs bite into his wrists. I remember how those hands used to hold mine for the camera, performing tenderness. I remember how they felt around my throat last year when I bought the wrong brand of almond milk. Now, they are bound behind his back, rendered useless. He can't edit this. He can't delete this footage. He is powerless. A strange sensation washes over me. It isn't joy. It isn't triumph. It's simply lightness. The gravity in the room has shifted. For 3 years, he was the sun, massive and burning, and I was just a planet caught in his pull. Now, the sun has imploded. I look at the monitor. The comments have slowed down. "Justice. He's done. We're with you. Alice." They are witnessing the fall of a god, and they are cheering. The officers haul Brad up to his feet. He is disheveled, red-faced, his expensive shirt torn at the shoulder. He looks wild. He looks at Miller, then at Chloe, and finally, his eyes lock onto me. The desperation in his face hardens into something uglier. It is the pure, distilled malice of a narcissist who has been exposed. He knows he can't charm his way out of this, so he decides to leave a scar. He stops struggling for a second, letting the officers drag him toward the door. "You think you're free," he spits, his voice dripping with venom. "You're nothing without me, Alice. Nothing. You're just a pretty face I painted. When this stream ends, you'll fade away. I own you. I own your name. I own your image." He is shouting as they drag him through the doorway, his voice echoing in the hallway. "You'll come crawling back. You don't know how to exist without a script." The door slams shut, cutting off his voice. The sudden silence that follows is ringing. It is heavy and absolute. The room is a wreck. Broken glass, spilled water, overturned chair, but the camera is still rolling. The red light is still on. I am still here. Miller lets out a long breath, closing his notepad. "Well," he says, his voice quiet, "I think you got the story. Mrs. Sterling." He looks at me with a mixture of professional respect and human pity. He knows that the hard part isn't over. The legal battles, the media circus, the trauma, it's all waiting for me tomorrow. But for tonight, the monster is in a cage. Chloe steps out from behind the ring light. She is trembling, tears streaming down her face, ruining her own makeup. She runs to me and wraps her arms around me. It is a fierce, shaking hug. "You did it." She sobs into my shoulder. "Oh my God. Alice, you did it." I pat her back mechanically. I feel surprisingly calm. "I had to." I whisper. He gave me no choice. I gently pull away from Chloe. There is one last thing I need to do. One last beat to hit in this 24-step plan. I turn back to the table. I sit down in my chair, the one facing the camera. I am alone in the frame now. No husband, no prop, just me and the lens. I look directly into the camera. I don't smile. I don't cry. I let them see the bruise, the messy hair, the exhaustion. I let them see the human being that was hiding under the influencer. I know a lot of you are confused. I say, my voice steady. I know this was a lot. I pause, listening to the hum of the city outside. I didn't do this for views. I didn't do this for drama. I did this because I knew that if I tried to leave him in private, I would never make it out the door. I lean in closer. Silence is where they keep you. Isolation is how they control you. I needed you to be my witnesses, because he couldn't hit me while the world was watching. I glance at the view count one last time. 5 million. Thank you for watching. I say, not the show, but the truth. I stand up slowly. I walk around the table, moving toward the camera. The image on the screen gets larger as I approach, until my face fills the frame. Then my torso. I reach out my hand, but I don't reach for the camera. Not yet. I reach for the ring light, the massive, blinding halo that has dictated my life for 3 years. It hums with heat and artificial brightness. It is the sun of Brad's false universe. I look at it for a second. Blindingly bright. Then, with a decisive click, I flip the switch. Snap. The room plunges into semi-darkness. The harsh, clinical studio lighting is gone. All that remains is the soft, ambient glow of the Los Angeles skyline coming through the window behind me. It is dimmer, grainier. It is imperfect. It is real. In the shadows, I am no longer the high-definition victim. I am just a woman standing in the dark. I reach past the extinguished light to the camera lens. My hand hovers over the lens cap. Goodbye. I whisper. I cover the lens. The screen goes black. But the audio is still running for one more second. In the darkness, through the sensitive microphones under the table, a sound is heard. It is not a sob. It is not a scream. It is the sound of a long, deep exhale. The sound of lungs filling with air for the first time in years. Click. The stream ends. The screen is black. The red light has faded to a dull gray, and the hum of the electronics slowly dies down as the cooling fans spin to a halt. The silence that rushes into the penthouse is not the peaceful silence of a library. It is the stunning, vacuum-sealed silence of a bomb site immediately after the explosion. For a moment, nobody moves. Miller, the reporter, is the first to break the spell. He tucks his notepad into his jacket pocket, his movements slow and deliberate, as if he is afraid that making a sudden noise might shatter the fragile reality we have just constructed. He looks at me, his eyes tired but clear. You did good, Alice, he says, his voice low. It's not a congratulation. It's an acknowledgement of survival. My editor is going to want a follow-up. But take your time. You control the narrative now. Don't let anyone else write it for you. He places a business card on the edge of the table, careful not to touch the puddle of spilled water and mineral oil. Call me when you're ready. Or don't. It's up to you. The phrase hangs in the air. Alien and strange. It's up to you. For 3 years, nothing has been up to me. Not my clothes. Not my food. Not my thoughts. The concept of choice feels heavy. A weight I'm not sure my muscles are strong enough to carry yet. Chloe is still crying, sniffing quietly into the sleeve of her oversized t-shirt. She looks young, terrified, and overwhelmed by the magnitude of what she just helped facilitate. She walks over to me, her boots crunching softly on a stray shard of glass from the broken vase. Do you want me to stay? She asks, her voice trembling. I can sleep on the couch. I don't want you to be alone. I look at her, at the genuine concern in her face. Part of me wants to say yes. Part of me wants to cling to another human being to prove that I still exist. But the other part of me, the part that just woke up from a 3-year coma, needs the silence. I need to know if the walls will still stand without Brad holding them up. I need to know if I can breathe the air in this apartment without him filtering it first. No. Chloe, I say gently, reaching out to squeeze her hand. My own hand feels cold. Corpse-like. I need to do this. I need to be here, alone. She hesitates, searching my eyes for signs of a breakdown. But she finds only a flat, gray, calm, okay. She whispers, call me, text me, anything. She hugs me one last time. A fierce, desperate embrace that smells of hairspray and fear. And then she follows Miller to the door. The heavy oak door clicks shut. The sound echoes through the open concept living room, bouncing off the floor-to-ceiling windows, the marble countertops, the stainless steel appliances. Click. It is the final period at the end of a long, run-on sentence. I am alone, truly. Physically alone. I stand in the center of the room, still wearing the white dress, now stained with water and oil. The adrenaline that fueled the performance, the chemical fire that allowed me to burn down my life, suddenly evaporates. The crash is instant and brutal. My knees give way. Not gracefully, but with a clumsy buckle. I sink to the polished concrete floor, sitting amidst the wreckage of the live stream. The broken lilies lie scattered like fallen soldiers. The wet cotton pads are gray lumps on the pristine white rug. The chair Brad was sitting in, the chair where he was handcuffed, is overturned. I wrap my arms around my knees and I rock, just a little, back and forth. I listen to the apartment. I am waiting for his voice. I am waiting for the criticism. Alice. Why are you on the floor? You're wrinkling the dress. Alice. Get up. You look pathetic. But the voice doesn't come. The air conditioner hums. A siren wails far below on Wilshire Boulevard. But inside, there is no voice. The director has left the building. You know that feeling when you step off a treadmill that's been moving too fast, and the world feels like it's still rushing past you even though you're standing still. That is my brain right now. I am vibrating with the phantom motion of his control. I look at the coffee table. His water glass is still there, half full. A rim of condensation has pooled at the bottom. It looks so normal. It looks like he just stepped out to the bathroom and will be back in a minute to tell me I'm doing it wrong. I reach out and touch the glass. It's cold. I pick it up. My hand is shaking so hard, the water ripples, creating a miniature storm in the glass. I have the sudden, violent urge to throw it against the wall, to make a noise, to break something that he touched, but I don't. I am done with violence. I am done with breaking things. Instead, I stand up, my legs feeling like they belong to someone else, and I walk to the kitchen sink. I pour the water down the drain. I watch it swirl away. Then I drop the glass into the trash can. Clunk. It's a small sound, but it feels monumental. I am throwing him away, one piece at a time. The apartment is a crime scene, but it is also a temple of our false religion. And I am the janitor left to clean up the aftermath of the sacrifice. I start to clean, not because I am the dutiful wife, but because I need to reclaim the territory. This is what animals do. They mark their space. I am unmarking his. I pick up the broken stems of the lilies. They smell cloying and sweet, the scent of a funeral parlor. I shove them into a heavy-duty trash bag. I pick up the shards of the vase, careful not to cut myself. I wipe the spilled water and oil from the floor. The oil is stubborn. It smears before it lifts, leaving a greasy film on the concrete. I scrub harder. I want the slickness of his lies gone. I want friction. I want reality. I go to the utility closet and get the bleach. I don't care that it's not the organic, eco-friendly cleaner Brad insisted on because it aligned with the brand. I pour the harsh, chemical bleach onto the floor. The smell hits me sharp, burning, sterile. It smells like a hospital. It smells like a restart. I scrub until my knuckles are white, until the floor is stripped of everything, until the only thing I can smell is the burning purity of chlorine. I move to the tech corner. This was his altar. The mixer, the monitors, the cables snaking across the floor like black vipers. I look at the red on-air sign. Now dark. I reach behind the console and find the main power strip. I flick the switch. The faint electronic hum that is always present in this house finally dies. The silence deepens, becoming granular and textured. I start unplugging things. I pull the HDMI cables. I coil the XLR cords. I am dismantling the machine that ate my life. As I reach under the table to retrieve the hidden microphones, the little spies that saved me, my hand brushes against something taped to the underside of the wood. Right where Brad sat. I frown. I peel it off. It's a sticky note. A cheat sheet. In Brad's sharp, angular handwriting. It says, "Key emotion benevolence. If she cries, touch her face. If she resists, squeeze hand." I stare at the note. He had stage directions for his own empathy. He had to write down benevolence so he wouldn't forget to fake it. A cold laugh bubbles up in my throat. A dry, rusty sound. I crumple the note in my fist. It feels like paper, but it weighs a ton. I walk into the bedroom. The master suite, the place where the door was always locked. Not to keep the world out, but to keep me in. The bed is made. The duvet perfectly smooth. Untouched since this morning. It looks like a display in a furniture store. Not a place where people sleep or dream or love. I walk to his side of the bed. The nightstand is cluttered with his things. A watch, a bottle of cologne, a stack of business cards, and his clipboard. The script. I pick it up. The top page is titled, "The Redemption Arc, Draft 4. I read the lines he wrote for me. "Alice, I was lost in the dark. And Brad was my lighthouse. Alice, I'm sorry I haven't been the wife you deserve." The words swim before my eyes. He wrote my apology. He scripted my guilt. He was going to make me say these things to the world. To brand myself as the problem so he could remain the solution. I feel a flash of heat. A belated anger that burns through the numbness. He didn't just want to control my body. He wanted to colonize my mind. He wanted to rewrite my history until I believed it myself. I take the clipboard and walk out to the trash chute in the hallway. I don't even look at it again. I open the metal hatch. The air from the chute smells of stale coffee and rot. I drop the clipboard. The script. The sticky note. The business cards. I drop them all into the dark throat of the building. I listen. Whoosh. Silence. Then, seconds later, a distant, muffled thud. It is gone. It is buried under the refuse of 100 other lives. I close the hatch. My hands are dusty. I wipe them on my dress. The white dress is ruined anyway. I walk back into the apartment and lock the door. I slide the deadbolt. I engage the chain. I am locking myself in. But this time, I am the jailer, and the key is in my pocket. I go to the bathroom and strip off the dress. I let it fall to the floor in a heap of silk and shame. I step into the shower. I turn the water on hot, scalding hot. I want to boil him off my skin. I scrub the rest of the makeup off my face. Watching the beige water swirl down the drain, I touch the bruise on my cheek. It hurts. It throbs, but it is mine. It is real. It is the only honest thing Brad ever gave me. I step out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, shivering not from cold, but from the shock of existence. I walk to the living room. It is night now. The city outside is a grid of golden lights, indifferent and beautiful. I don't turn on the lights in the apartment. I prefer the shadows. The darkness feels protective. Like a blanket, I sit on the sofa. The one Brad claimed was his spot. I sink into the cushions. It's just a sofa. It doesn't bite. It doesn't judge. My stomach rumbles. A loud, growling complaint. I realize I haven't eaten in 24 hours. I walk to the kitchen. I open the fridge. It is full of kale, almond milk, organic berries, Brad's diet. I push it all aside. In the back of the freezer, hidden behind a bag of frozen spinach, is a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I bought it months ago and hid it like contraband. I pull it out. I get a spoon. I don't put it in a bowl. I sit on the floor, leaning against the cabinets, and I eat the ice cream straight from the carton. It is cold, sweet, and unhealthy. It tastes like rebellion. I eat until my tongue is numb. Then I just sit there, in the dark, listening to the silence. It is terrifying. There is no script for tomorrow. There is no call sheet. There is no director telling me where to stand. I have to decide when to wake up. I have to decide what to wear. I have to decide who I am. The freedom is vast and empty. A blank page staring back at me. It is dizzying. I could go anywhere. I could do anything. But for now, I just want to sleep. I walk back to the bedroom. I look at the massive bed. I don't get in on my side. I crawl into the exact center of the mattress. I spread my arms and legs out, claiming the space. I am a starfish in a sea of Egyptian cotton. I close my eyes. The silence presses in against my ears. It is loud, but it is not angry. It is just waiting. I'm here. I whisper to the empty room. I'm still here. And for the first time in 3 years, I fall asleep without checking the locks on the windows. Because the only monster who ever threatened me has already been dragged out the door. 3 months have passed. And the silence in my new house is not empty. It is full. It is full of the sound of my own footsteps on the creaky wooden floorboards, the hum of a refrigerator that I bought secondhand, and the scratching of a stray cat I named Buster, who has decided to adopt me. I didn't stay in the penthouse. I couldn't. I sold it 2 weeks after the arrest. I sold the furniture, the lighting rigs, the white sofas, the marble tables. I sold the stage. Now, I live in a small, slightly drafty bungalow in Silver Lake, surrounded by overgrown bougainvillea and neighbors who don't know my Instagram handle. I deleted the account. By the way, 2.5 million followers. And I deleted it with a single click. Brad would have had a stroke if he saw me do it. He would have calculated the lost revenue in his head. But to me, it felt like popping a blister. It stung for a second, and then the relief washed over me. Cool and healing. I work at a local library now. I shelve books. I smell old paper and glue all day. Nobody looks at me. Nobody rates my outfit. I am invisible. And it is the most luxurious feeling in the world. The letter arrived yesterday. It sits on my kitchen table. A white envelope with the stamp of the California Department of Corrections in the corner. I haven't opened it yet. I've just been looking at it while I drink my coffee with real milk and 2 sugars. Because I don't care about bloating anymore. I know what's inside. I know his handwriting. I can imagine the loops of his y's and the sharp crosses of his ents. For 3 months, I have been waiting for this. The final attempt. The hook thrown into the dark water to see if the fish will bite. My lawyer told me I didn't have to read it. He told me I could burn it. But ignoring Brad was never the way to defeat him. You have to look the monster in the eye to realize he's just a man in a rubber suit. I pick up the letter opener, a cheap plastic one. Not the silver one we used to have, and I slice the envelope open. The paper inside is thin and cheap. My dearest Alice. It begins. The handwriting is smaller, cramped. I hope you are well. I hope you are happy. I've been doing a lot of thinking in here. It's quiet. It gives a man time to reflect. I scan the lines, looking for the apology. But it isn't there. Instead, I find the narrative. I forgive you. He writes, I forgive you for the live stream. I know you were under a lot of stress. I know you didn't mean to ruin us. I've been telling the guys in here about how talented you are. I'm writing a book. Alice. About us. About the pressure of fame. I think it could be a bestseller. The price of perfection. But I need your help. I need you to sign a release form. We can split the profits 50/50. We can rebuild. Alice. Not as a couple, but as partners. Think about the brand. Think about the legacy. I put the letter down. I don't feel angry. I don't feel sad. I feel a dry, dusty amusement. He is sitting in a cell, awaiting trial for felony assault. And he is pitching me a business plan. He is trying to monetize his own downfall. He says he forgives me. The audacity is breathtaking. It is a monument to his delusion. He still thinks the world is a movie set, and he is the director. Just temporarily stuck in a bad location shoot. He thinks I am still the prop. He thinks that if he offers me a percentage of the gross, I will come running back to the spotlight. I pick up my car keys. I am not going to write him back. I am not going to send a text. Some things need to be delivered in person. Not for his sake, but for mine. I need to see the bars. I need to see the wall. I need to verify the physics of his containment. The visitor center at the county jail smells of bleach and despair. It is a stark contrast to the vanilla-scented air of our old life. I sit on a metal stool, facing a thick pane of plexiglass. My reflection in the glass is ghostly, no makeup. Hair tied back in a messy bun. Wearing a thrift store sweater that is 2 sizes too big. I look like a nobody. I look like myself. The door on the other side buzzes. And Brad walks in. He is wearing an orange jumpsuit. It clashes with his skin tone. He looks thinner. His hair, usually coiffed to perfection, is flat and greasy. He hasn't shaved. But when he sees me, the spark lights up in his eyes. The director switches on. He sits down, leaning forward, picking up the phone receiver. I pick up mine. Alice. He breathes. His voice tinny through the speaker. You came. I knew you would. I knew you wouldn't abandon me. He smiles. And for a second, I see the ghost of the man I loved. The charm is still there. Rusty but functional. Did you get my letter? He asks. His eyes searching my face for the familiar signs of submission. The book. Alice. It's going to be huge. Oprah will want this. We can spin the narrative. We can say it was a performance art piece gone wrong. We can say we were making a statement about society. He is speaking fast. Manic energy radiating off him. He is building a castle out of air. I just need you to say yes. I need you to confirm it. We can be rich again. You can have the penthouse back. I listen to him. I let him run out of steam. I watch his mouth move, forming the lies that used to bind me. But the glass between us is thick. His voice is just a frequency in my ear, easily silenced. Brad. I say, cutting him off mid-sentence. My voice is calm, lower than he remembers. I didn't come here to sign a deal. He stops, blinking. Then why? He asks. A flicker of irritation crossing his face. Why are you here to gloat? No. I say, I came to return something. I reach into my bag. His eyes widen. He thinks I brought money. He thinks I brought a lawyer. I pull out a small, rectangular object. It's the Polaroid photo, the one of us in the old apartment, laughing and poor, the one I used to anchor myself to reality. I hold it up to the glass. He stares at it. I don't need this anymore. I tell him. I kept it because I thought it was proof that you were capable of love. I thought that if I stripped away the fame, this boy would come back. I look at the photo. Then, at the man in the orange jumpsuit. But I realize something. Brad, that boy didn't die. He never existed. You were always acting, even back then. You were just playing the role of the starving artist because you couldn't afford to be the tycoon yet. Brad's face hardens. The mask drops. You ungrateful bitch. He hisses, the venom spraying against the glass. I made you, and I destroyed you. I reply simply, we're even. I slide the photo through the small slot at the bottom of the window. It lands on his side of the table. You can keep it. It's the only version of us that exists anymore. Put it in your book. Under fiction. I stand up. Brad is shouting now, slamming his hand against the glass. You can't walk away from me. I own your image. I have the hard drives. I have the outtakes. The guard steps forward, putting a hand on Brad's shoulder. Brad shakes him off, screaming at my retreating back. Alice, Alice, I don't turn around. I don't flinch. I hang up the receiver. The line goes dead. His voice is cut off. Reduced to a pantomime of rage behind soundproof glass, I walk toward the heavy steel doors. Buzz. The door unlocks. I step out into the hallway. Clang. The door locks behind me. It is the most beautiful sound I have ever heard. I walk out of the jail and into the bright, uncompromising California sunshine. The air tastes like exhaust fumes and eucalyptus. I walk to my car. A beat-up Honda that rattles when it hits 60. I get in. But I don't start the engine immediately. I reach into the passenger seat and pick up my camera. Not a phone, not a digital camera. It's the old Polaroid Sun 600. I bought a new pack of film. I point the camera out the windshield. I don't aim at a sunset. I don't aim at a flower. I aim it at the rearview mirror. I frame my own eyes. No makeup, no filter. Crow's feet showing at the corners. The eyes of a woman who has walked through fire and came out with soot on her face, but her own skin intact. Click. The whir of the motor ejects the photo. I hold it by the edges, watching it develop. Slowly, the gray fog lifts. My face appears. It isn't perfect. It isn't content. It is just a face. I look at it. Really look at it. And for the first time, I don't feel the need to fix anything. I toss the photo onto the dashboard. I start the car. I roll down the windows. I turn on the radio. It's playing an old song. Something messy and loud. I drive away from the prison, merging onto the freeway. Just one more car in the river of traffic. I am nobody special. I am just Alice. And that is finally enough.